soon, so you have to sign up now. For more details or to sign up to become a member, go to am950radio.com. That's am950radio.com.
No matter if you're eating out or cooking something at home, eatlocalminnesota.com has you covered with a list of locally owned restaurants and food purveyors. Locally owned Vinaigrette has been offering the finest olive oil and vinegar since 2009. Reintroduce yourself to all the many flavors by tasting before you buy. From darker white balsamic to cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil from all over the world, there is something for everyone. Vinaigrette, located at 50th and Xerxes in Minneapolis, or at vinaigrettemn.com. The Park Tavern is your go-to destination for fun. Enjoy the fantastic food like their pizzas, burgers, and sandwiches, the best bowling in Minnesota, their wildly popular outdoor patio, great drink specials, all the big games on their numerous screens, and it's the perfect place for your next private event, even large gatherings for over 200. The Park Tavern is your go-to destination for everyone. Have fun at the Park Tavern, Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park.
Why must the world be so cold? They've gone against what was told. Thinking rape is cool? Think about it. They think it's not wrong, violence against women, the rape, the abuse, the emotional, physical. They all hold the hate. Think about it. Is it right or wrong? What attracts you? I'm not saying no names, but you laugh. Talk about it like nothing is wrong. Think about it. They all hold the hate. Gotta stop the violence. Stop the hate. Think about it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And we're kind of rebounding from a darker episode last night, and it was pretty crazy. We'll talk about that in a second. But Adam is with us tonight. Adam, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, and actually kind of glad we don't have Lynn on tonight because, yeah, that was spooky just listening to it.
Did you listen to it?
Yeah, I got to hear a little bit of it today while I was at work, and I'm actually kind of glad I wasn't in last night because it totally would have been a sleep with the lights on type of night.
Well, and yeah, I totally get it. And you know, the thing is about that is that it's such a serious experience for her. And that she was getting activity happening at the house while she was talking about it. Things are feeling off at the station. And I thought to myself last night, how many times have we had some kind of paranormal activity, whether it's the stuff that you're experiencing or the stuff that just happens during the interviews that we are just we're just experiencing ourselves, you know, while someone is trying to talk. Like I'm thinking about, like, remember we had Amanda on for the jail, the Scott County Jail.
Oh,
and,
yeah, that's right.
we were hearing talking.
Mm-hmm.
Or when Robert the Doll, we were talking about Robert the Doll with the person who wrote about it, and my shirt moved on me.
I actually just sent the link of that YouTube video to my daughter. Because I happened to get talking about that episode a couple right before she went up to St. Cloud before her semester break. And I'm like, you've got to check this out. This is one of our creepier ones.
Yeah. It's, you know, and I'm, as much as it's not great sometimes when we're doing it and how it feels and stuff and the respect that we have for that energy, it's also really cool to know that this is truly a paranormal show where we're actually getting paranormal activity happening while we are doing just interviewing. And I still think it's pretty incredible. What was it, last Friday, when that magazine or the calendar fell behind you?
Yeah, the 2021 calendar that's been sitting back here since 2021, it fell off of the table. And for it to fall off the table means it would have had to slide from almost the middle of the table
Yeah.
onto the floor.
It's just a testament for that studio. That stuff is just like, even the stuff itself, it's like, please, we need to be thrown away. We've been here for years and we are out of date. Throw us away now. I think that's what is really crazy.
It was finally having enough. It's like, you know what? I don't want to make it to 2026 when all my days will be correct again. We're set.
I'm back in fashion.
Like my
you know,
wardrobe.
talking about paranormal activity, one thing that I do want to start putting a seed in people's mind is that on February 21st, we are doing another live investigation of the Grand Garage, and we are going to invite listeners to come on down to the Tilted Tiki, where we'll be doing live shows. We're going to be doing investigations of the whole area, but not everyone's going to be able to take part in those. But you come into the restaurant, you buy some food, drinks. We'll have it up on a big screen so people can see where the other investigators are throughout the building. And it's going to be a fantastic time. It's also going to be broadcast on AM 950. I don't know exactly if we're moving to 8 or 9 that night. We're preempting. Patty is out. Rick is out. It's GhostBox Radio for 3 hours on February 21st. The only person we cannot ever move is Stephanie Miller. So that's just how it is, Adam. That's what's going on.
If we're doing a paranormal investigation at like 7 a.m., though, we have a problem.
And there's never a wrong time, though, as you know, to do a paranormal investigation.
True, it can happen anywhere, and it doesn't have to always be at night.
No, though I do like the night stuff. I mean, I buy into, I'm the anti-paranormal investigator in a lot of ways because I don't like a lot of those tropes that go along with it. But at the same time, that is one I love. I love investigating at night, and but I also enjoy during the day when you get something you're just like, whoa, where did that come from?
Yeah, it's more shocking, but in a very not horrifying way. But hey, this does happen during the day. I'm going to set the camera up all the time.
Yeah. So, we got that. Also, one other bit of house cleaning before we get started tonight. I just want to let everybody know that starting next week, AM 950 is doing Listener Appreciation Month. And all month long, we're giving away stuff. We are giving away stuff during all shows. Check out social media. If you haven't done so, please go to the AM 950 Radio Facebook page. Please, starting, you can like it now because you don't have to like it to win, but we're going to take a look at interactions and stuff. So people who are interacting have a chance to win some really cool prizes. We're going to be announcing what those prizes are starting next week. And every week it's a different theme. It's going to be fantastic. And I don't think we've ever done anything like this before. So I'm really excited that we're going to do this and, just thank the listeners. Thank you all very much because, I mean, it's so cliched. We can't do it without you, but it is so true. And I'm looking at our comment section, Adam. It's filling up. People are engaged with our show. People like what we do. We like the engagement. We like the comments that people give because they're always so well thought out. So, I mean, I can't ask for a better situation. And also the calls, when we get the calls in, that's pretty awesome too.
The calls are definitely my favorite. You get to hear the voices of those who listen. And like Dan last week, that was so great. And we're not just saying it because he's like, I love the show. It honestly means so much to guys like Greg, myself, Robert Pilot of Native Roots, and all the other shows that we're reaching someone, we're reaching people, getting the message across. And thank you all so very much.
Very much so. Very much so. So just keep listening and keep enjoying, and please keep interacting. And you can tonight as well. Tonight we're going to be talking about a place that's very close to my heart, and I'm going to explain why we're going to talk about this. And I really wish that my plans would have followed through the way that I wanted them to, but this is something that I just wanted to kind of have an episode about, and that is what we call St. Anthony, Maine in Minneapolis. And St. Anthony, Maine is actually the birthplace of Minneapolis. The main street is, where the first building for what we call, modern day Minneapolis is. And that was in, the late 1800s. And it's to say that area is haunted on many levels would be ridiculous, because it is just there's the spirits from the past. There is native spirits there. There are elementals there. There's been so much, that place has been so many things. Back in the day, a lot of sawmills, a lot of milling going on there, a lot of wood moving down the St. Anthony Falls that then had been completely kind of reformed based on what was the needs for Minneapolis, and whole island taken down that was native. There's just so much information there. And the reason why I wanted to go this route started last week. If you're ever a part of any, like on Facebook, and Adam, I don't know, are you a part of any of the Facebook pages like Old Minneapolis or anything like that?
Yeah, but it's more like Old Twins, but it's not actually any of the cities, just, the twins. And apparently my camera died, and y'all get to see that mid skis.
I see that someone didn't do their duty at the station to have it ready for you tonight. That's a bummer. Well, I don't know if you know that you're frozen. You're freeze framed for me right now. So I mean, I still see Adam on the camera. Just he doesn't move.
I just like the fact it caught me at sneeze when I was turning off my mic to sneeze real quick.
That's awesome. That is really good. And so the thing about that whole area is, so I was on the Facebook page, and there was a picture, and remember, there was a lot of milling done on both sides of the Mississippi River. So if you're not familiar, if you're in Minnesota, in the Twin Cities, you're not familiar what I'm talking about with St. Anthony, Maine. If you're in downtown Minneapolis and you take either Hennepin Avenue Bridge or the 3rd Street Bridge, and you're heading north on those, and there is this area right on the other side of the river, and there's a big sign, like a big neon sign on top of one of the buildings that said St. Anthony, Maine on it. You can't really miss it. But to get there, you have to kind of it slopes down a little bit for you to get there, and there's cobble roads and stuff, and a lot of older buildings. For some of you might remember a place called River Place. That was done around that, down in the early 90s or something, and didn't really catch on. And the thing about that, somebody posted a picture of the General Mills Mill A, okay, and that's a little bit further down, probably just on the other side of the 3rd Street Bridge. If you're going from Hennepin, you just go underneath the 3rd Street Bridge, and I think I have that about right. And there's a big old building, and that was General Mills Mill A, and it was a photo taken early 1900s or something like that. Somebody responded to that thread, and he said, I worked in St. Anthony, Maine in the 70s, late 70s, as like a security person, and he would have to go into the Mill A building and walk around to make sure things were okay. And he basically said, the things I saw, let alone the fact that he had to go through because he needed to make sure no one was in there, because it was very dangerous, big holes in the floor, a lot of dangerous situations. But he said the things he saw that he could not explain, and he just was like kind of giving some information and kind of vague about it at the same time. And I thought, boy, I really want to talk to this guy. So of course, being the person I am, I start hounding him. I mean, go imagine that he didn't want to be a part of it. He never even responded. I think he's just kind of like, what are you? But it was very much a like I find that place so fascinating to have somebody in the 70s, working there in the 70s, being able to tell us about it, because St. Anthony, Maine has a very, I don't want to say dark past, but it has a very I kind of, just a kind of a wild past to it. And you have your milling, you have your sawmills. You also have, the trains, all of this stuff that really none of it is there anymore. Like you walk around, you can kind of see the remembrance of it, like the Stone Arch Bridge, and which was where the trains came out of downtown Minneapolis and came into downtown Minneapolis. No, I wouldn't say jaded. I just think it's kind of like, almost a bit not wild west, but just kind of its own lost sort of thing, because you had a lot of people coming in there and leaving, and a lot of stuff would happen. And then you also have your native people there. You also had, I think there was a shanty town there for the longest time in some of those areas. That place had so many faces over the years. And what does that do? That creates so many possibilities of paranormal activity that you just cannot ignore what it is like when you go down there, and it just seems so empty down there these days, but you can still feel the energy. It is truly a remarkable situation. And what that guy did, he sparked my interest to talk about it. And I really wanted to have him join me tonight, because I just wanted that perspective on it. But I will tell you all something, though. I myself, that I have investigated there so many times, just because that was kind of my stomping ground in my formative years of paranormal investigating. I wanted to talk a little bit tonight about what I experienced, the type of evidence that I received, and all sorts of things. Lynette says, before we had the break, Lynette says that that big milling building just sat there vacant for years. I just wanted to be able to see if they still had old machinery in there. It would be fun to hear what was left in the building. I do know that the machinery was still in there. That's partially why they always had to keep track of it. I think we're talking about the same building. It had the big A on it. Now it's all lofts and art installations, which is great. I mean, I'm happy to see that these areas constantly are getting revitalized, but there is something about it. And right next, kitty corner, basically, to the mill, if you're going up the hill where that mill A is, you have the soap factory, which is another place I really want to talk about tonight, because it's all connected and it all has some truly incredible stories and situations there. So I want to talk about all that tonight. Why don't we do this? Let's go ahead and take our first break. When we come back, we're going to continue talking about St. Anthony, Maine, and talk about if anyone has any remembrances or anything about it. Go ahead, put it into the comments. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950.
In the heart of the Northeast, there lies a hidden beast, a dragon's lair at the crossroad, guarded by the maiden Mother Crone. A treasure trove of spells galore, discover incense, books, jewelry, and more. Just as the oracles foretold, this is where your mystery unfolds. As the shadows creep and the veil gets thin, do not fear what lies within. Magus Books is where your journey begins. Visit us at 1848 Central Avenue Northeast in Minneapolis, or online at magusbooks.com.
Hello, I'm Jody, also known as Witch Jody on social media. I opened Midwest Witchery and Healing in historic Stillwater because as a nurse, I love to help others. When you come and visit Midwest Witchery and Healing, you will find everything from divination and magical services, classes to ritual tools, jewelries, handcrafted candles, witchy gear, and much more. My store is a safe environment for all on their own unique path. Look for the purple door. Find out more at MidwestWitcheryHealing.com.
Reach your highest level of consciousness and well-being with MetamorphosisConnections.com. MetamorphosisConnections.com is an online directory of the best holistic and metaphysical practitioners to help you make your most informed choices. You can search MetamorphosisConnections.com for classes, events, wellness and life coaches, plus metaphysical products and shops. You can also search for a wide array of healers from all modalities, including EFT, sound healing, energy healing, light therapy, ancestral healing, shamanic healing, reflexology, past life regressions, hypnotherapy, yoga, and more. And if you're not sure where to start, the search feature on MetamorphosisConnections.com is tailored to help both those who know what they are looking for and those who are just starting. Come explore the possibilities for your higher self by visiting MetamorphosisConnections.com. Their experienced practitioners can guide both beginners and those that are already on their spiritual journey. That's metamorphosisconnection.com, your link to direct you on your spiritual transformation.
You want to feel important. You want to be part of something bigger, something that matters and that you can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We felt that way too. I'm Sergeant Michael Tislin from Chaska, Minnesota, and that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Minnesota Army National Guard soldiers. We are people just like you, and together we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit nationalguard.com/MN to find out more. Sponsored by the Minnesota Army National Guard, aired by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association and this station.
And welcome back to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. I have Adam back at home base and kind of keeping everything from burning down over there. So thank you very much for that, Adam.
Not a problem. I do have my daughter running around with a K2 meter, so I don't know if everything will stay not burnt to the ground, but we'll give it a shot.
Not my problem. So we are talking about St. Anthony, Maine tonight. Julie Ann has a question. She says, do you generally go in with knowledge and history of a location before doing an investigation? And I think it's a really good question. Let me ask you this, Adam, seeing that you are you've delved more into doing some investigations. You have done one over at both the Masonic Lodge and at the Grant House. What's your perspective on that?
My perspective is I do want to know the history, but I don't want to know what other people have experienced. That way, when I get EVPs or anything like that, I can ask people who have been there prior, who have been there more than I have, if what I captured correlates with those who have been there more than I have, so that I'm not, what's the best way to put this? Not making it up. And I know that's the horrible way to say it, of making it up, but making sure what I've gotten jives with what other people have gotten there before.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense, because what you're in, I'm assuming you're not meaning what people are purposely making it, but it's kind of like a sort of a, it's, you hear it and you without realizing it, you're kind of hearing it yourself, or psychosomatic in some.
Thank you. Yeah, that was kind of what I was looking for.
Yeah.
I don't want to put, somebody keeps saying they get out in a certain room. I don't want to know that, because if I catch an EVP and it says, "Hi, I'm Marilyn," I don't want to automatically think that it's saying "get out."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, very much.
That's what I mean by that. But I want to know when the place was built. I want to know how many deaths have occurred there. And possibly, if I'm doing more than one night at the same location, take the names of the folks who have died there, just to see if they're hanging around.
Right. I'm going to answer the question in a second, but I do have to point out, Sarah, how are you? It's good to see you. Sarah and I don't actually really know each other that well, but I know Tal, her husband, who is, I consider such a wonderful person. So it's really, seeing you on here tonight has really made my evening. Thank you, Sarah. Please say hi to Tal. Julie Ann says, that's a good answer. I prefer going in cold and knowing nothing and then compare notes and get the history afterwards. So what I pick up is untainted. My take on it, first of all, if you're a psychic medium, I would suspect that a lot of psychic mediums don't want to go in knowing anything, because they don't want, like Julianne just said, they don't want to have that preconceived notion. You said the same thing. And I would agree too. I think what I would like to know, since I use Spirit Box and stuff, I think what I'd like to know are factual things as well. I think, to your point, also, Adam, that you have people who are, they're sharing their experiences, which is great. But at the same time, then I remember at the Palmer House, Nicole and I, we picked up this young person named Weasel. That's the name that we came up with. And we told some people about Weasel. And we went into another room where there is because now there's an event, and we told people of Weasel. We go into this room where there's a round kind of a circle of chairs with people sitting in them, and they are giving us this like you can hear, like, "Weasel, can you come through? Weasel, can you come through?" All this stuff. And they came up with Weasel is this boy who went on and served in World War II and stuff, and the Weasel we got was a female, was this little girl. I'm not saying one is more right than the other, but how many Weasels are we getting in a paranormal investigation? Maybe we're getting multiple Weasel. Maybe it's WeaselCon at the Palmer that weekend. I don't know.
Or Weasel's a surname.
Or Weasel could be a surname. It didn't appear that way, but you can't rule that out either.
Yeah, but that's really the only way I can think of them. You have Weasel as one, they have Weasel as another. If it's legitimately a Weasel, is it the surname, or is there somebody just looking for some attention? Because I think that happens in the paranormal world. I think spirits are like, I'll tell them whatever they want. There's just somebody here to talk to me.
Well, and the thing is, it's obvious that one of the things, and this is where your intuition comes into play quite a bit, is when you are feeling like something isn't right. And I don't subscribe to the theory that anytime you get a child, you have to be careful through any sort of paranormal means, because people will always warn that it's somebody who is masquerading as a child. That's how the whole Annabelle thing started.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that, but at the same time, I did run into that on a couple occasions, but that's where it's not like not going in and being like, oh well, that's a child, therefore it's a demon. It's more like, boy, something really doesn't feel right. And I was at a Masonic lodge in Newport, Kentucky, and doing an investigation, and we were getting this little girl coming through, and I'm just like, God, it doesn't feel right. And I just said, you're not a little girl, are you? And it responded positively to that. It's like, yep, nope, you're right. And it's weird because once you call out spirit, they generally fess up. It's generally like, yep, you got me. I'm in fact this, so.
Is that I wonder if that's like a rule of thumb in the afterlife. If you get called out, you got to fess up to it.
Could be. I mean, it does seem like that they do it quite a bit. Now, this was also the place because I was shooting my web series there. This is back in 2015, something like that, 2016 maybe. Mm-hmm. And we're interviewing. I have this on camera. I recorded it. The guy who was running this, and it was really worn down Masonic lodge. I mean, there's nothing in it that gives you any idea that anything was ever in there, because it's just so barren in there. And walking around with him, and he's showing us different things, and I have the camera on him, and Nicole is just kind of trying to interview and stuff, and he's just like, all of a sudden he's just like points to the ground. It's like, that's where I killed a man. And just like, I'm sorry. He goes, yeah, I killed a guy there. I served my time. And it's like, okay, all right, this is great. And it's like, here's the thing, it's not a great neighborhood. Guy didn't look like he was going to harm a fly now, but it was still just like, I was not expecting that at all. So
out of Newport, Kentucky, I actually would expect that out of Newport, Kentucky.
Well, especially the area that we were in. And then just literally about 5 miles away from there is Bobby Mackey's Music World.
Yeah.
So we went there and we investigated there as well. So
I heard that shutting down.
Yeah, something I can't tell if it's being remodeled or but I mean, whatever it's happening, it's going to drastically change that building, whether it's being torn down and rebuilt or just massively updated. I don't know what's going on over there. So
yeah. And I know that they claim that a lot of the paranormal activity there is because the river that runs by there actually flows south to north instead of north to south.
Yeah. And that place is also another one. And I need to get on Shannon Bradley Byers. She's an author, and she writes books that specifically will debunk a lot of these mythical places. And Bobby Mackey's is one of them, with the portal to hell or whatever that thing is in the basement that people say is so nasty, and the history that has been kind of floated around on shows like Ghost Adventures, which is absolutely not true. And, she just did the due diligence of actually finding out what the truth is and writing about it. So we need to get her on. I'll get her on here maybe in this month or next month. So this month, of course, being February, even though we're still technically in January, but that's just how it goes.
Our listeners on the East Coast are closer to February than we are.
That's right. That's right. Well, we even got Kyle joining us tonight. My goodness. My goodness gracious. That deserves one of these. Anyway, so what we are talking about tonight is St. Anthony, Maine. And one of the things, because Sarah put in a comment about the soap factory, I kind of want to start there a little bit. Soap factory. We also did an episode of our web series on the soap factory. That's actually when that's finished and available to see online. That is, and she said it is now. It's no longer a place. It used to be an art installation, basically, and it was. That's where the lot of the local art community would be able to have some installations and stuff there. And then for the longest time, they would have the haunted basement. Which I don't even think is even happening anymore. But during the Halloween months, from September through Halloween, you can go in the basement and have the scared out of you. And when we shot the episode, went there twice over a year, each time in August. And but my gosh, it was that place is ridiculous. That place is off the hook. And you don't need to have stuff set up to be a haunted basement for that to scare the out of you. That place was pretty legit. And before we started there, it was is really interesting because the person who's letting us in, her name's Maggie. And she was working there, and she's just like, well, last night we had a group in and they got scratched. Like one of the guys got scratched there. And I don't know. I feel like this is just me. If you're legitimately getting scratched, probably 99% of the time you deserve it. And she said that he was provoking and stuff. And it's just like, there's something about people who do these, and I don't call them paranormal investigators, but there's something about these people who do this that think that as a badge of honor, I need to be marked by a spirit. And that is just something that was really ridiculous. So it was, and so, I mean, when we did our, that's why like our web series never was like anything that was like scary, because we'd go in and be like, hey, we just want to let you all know here, all your spirits know we're your friends. And they would be like, great. And we would talk with them, not trying to spin some dark story about them that makes no sense or just self-serving. We just really wanted to present the truth.
See, and that's where the web series failed, because every place needs their version of a Black Dahlia.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's that's very much a thing now for sure. Bridget says, I never knew the soap factory was haunted. I only knew it as a Halloween destination. Absolutely. That place is crazy. We have this on footage that first of all, when you get to the main floor, there's a basement, a main floor, another floor above it, and then yet another floor above it. And there's one way to get upstairs, and at least at the time, probably they've renovated it quite a bit, I'm sure. And you'd go up the one stairwell to get to the other locations. There was a elevator, but I don't think that had worked in decades. So going up there and working around and stuff, and then we're walking on the main floor after investigating for a long time, and suddenly Nicole's like, the only door to go upstairs, she goes, has that door always been open? And I'm like, I don't know. And she's just like, I shut that. And so later I went through the footage and just was like, that door was shut and now it's open. And so that was, I mean, it's just like, nowadays talking about a door being open by itself, most people are gonna be like, oh, big deal, because now everyone just wants really creepy, scary stuff. But I remember we were shooting at the soap factory, and my friend Bill, who's this fantastic editor as well as cinematographer, he's shooting this for us because I'm doing interviews and stuff. And at the end of it, walking around and stuff. And I don't think I have that soundbite actually loaded. If I did, I would play it. Someday we're going to just do a night where I'm just playing all like my Spirit Box recordings and stuff. But well, I think I can do it this way, actually. We're walking around and we decided to do this sort of impromptu Spirit Box session. And doing all this, and we're in the basement, and something dark walks in between us, like on the ground, like it just maybe goes up to like our knee or something like that. And none of us are thinking that this is like demonic or anything. And my first thought was, is this somebody's dog? Okay. And so I have the Spirit Box going, and I ask, is somebody's dog here? And this is the response. Somebody's dog here? I'm going to play it one more time. Is somebody's dog here? So what we're getting out of that was always, that's my dog.
That's what it does sound like. And I didn't look at the screen until the second time. When
play it one more.
You got the words, yeah.
I'm going to play it one more time. Is somebody's dog here?
Yeah.
And as when you're doing Spirit Box, which is, once again, folks, that radio that scans through the frequencies, and what we say is that we get spirits talk to us, they pick up the energy of the stations around and whatnot. And what happens is that when it's going so fast, it's impossible that it's the same voice that's going through all those frequencies to create a sentence. Like, it's impossible for it to be through traditional radio unless the station had all those frequencies, and they don't. It doesn't work that way. So it is truly a wonderful experience. We started getting a lot of responses, and I look over to Bill, and Bill is just staring at us with these great big eyes. He's never been to one of these ever. And I just kind of forgot about that. Being the responsible human being I am, I just like, oh yeah, well, no one is going to be worried about this. This is not weird to any of us, except for the guy who's never done it before. And he is just staring at me like, what is happening here? They're talking to us through that box. Like, I remember, all this is recorded. I remember, like, how are you today? And the response to the box, I am fine, and it's just like, God, this is so cool. And then poor Bill is just like, I got to leave. I got to get out of here. I don't know what's happening.
But isn't that the best way to do it? Have someone in there who is a skeptic. I'm assuming Bill was a skeptic or really knew nothing about the paranormal. And then there it is right in front of him.
I don't know if he was per se a skeptic, but he certainly wasn't expecting it. That wasn't the purpose of coming out there. And I think that there is, and I agree with what you're saying totally, that I think that even just if you're even not a skeptic, but you're not ready for it and you're presented with it, it's like, what do you do? Because, I think a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I know, I totally believe that something like that's possible. But then when they have the opportunity of seeing it and hearing it face to face, the being able to deal with it versus thinking that just knowing that it's out there, I think those are two very different things. And that's what he had to deal with. And who knows if he did a number 2 or something. I don't know. I mean, he just was really just like, God, what is going on here?
It's just that raw reaction of
it is
a skeptic or a non-believer when something actually happens where they're like, to me, that's one of the purest things out there. It's like, welcome to the world of, the paranormal. Have a Coke, have some coffee. Let's stay up all night and do some stuff.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead, take our next break. When we come back, let's talk about St. Anthony, Maine, more on the Main Street, and just kind of figure out what's going on for the rest of the night. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950.
If you own a holistic or metaphysical business and are looking to expand, then you need to be listed on metamorphosisconnections.com. It's a network where you can grow with like-minded practitioners and reach new clients. Metamorphosisconnections.com is an online directory you need to list yourself and your business. Our platform makes it easy for you to create listings of your products and services, and you can also choose to list your classes, events, and so much more. Metamorphosisconnections.com helps you create weekly and monthly promotional ads targeted towards your potential clients and promotes them for you via social media and newsletter. There are clients searching for your specialty right now. Let us help them find you. Start your listing today so you can share your own unique gifts and talents by finding the level of membership that best fits your needs. Let us help you reach your clients that are searching for what you do. Visit metamorphosisconnections.com and sign up today.
Hello, I'm Jody, also known as Witch Jody on social media. I opened Midwest Witchery and Healing in historic Stillwater because as a nurse, I love to help others. When you come and visit Midwest Witchery and Healing, you will find everything from divination and magical services, classes to ritual tools, jewelries, handcrafted candles, witchy gear, and much more. My store is a safe environment for all on their own unique path. Look for the purple door. Find out more at MidwestWitcheryHealing.com.
Lewis Black, Goodbye Yeller Brick Road, the final tour.
Look, to allow QAnon to run amok, they're nuts, okay? And I don't give a if your cousin's in QAnon and you don't think he's nuts. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I know cray when I see it.
Lewis Black, live on stage in the Mystic Showroom, Friday, April 26th. Get tickets now at the Mystic box office or online at mysticlake.com. For more, visit lewisblack.com.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I liked kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak.
Can we walk home?
How about a taxi?
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
And join us this month on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun. Over the next few weeks, I'm really excited about some of the programs, some of the topics we're going to be talking about. Next week in particular, we're going to have Brianna Lee coming back on, Reverend Brianna Lee, that is, coming back on from Megas Books. We work very closely with her to come up with what we're going to be talking about on the show, because she uses that time to help all of us with learning new things. And last time we talked a lot about demonic possession. So, I think we're talking about something a little bit lighter this time. So definitely check it out. We're going to be having Steve Shinken on. He wrote a book about stealing Lincoln's corpse in 1870s. We're going to be talking about how bizarre that was, the extraordinary lengths that Illinois had went to make sure that his corpse will never be stolen again. We're going to have on Heidi Hollis in a couple weeks talking about shadow people. And then, of course, we're going to have Lynn Monet return talking about her other books. And we wanted to give one episode to one book as much as we can, because these are, they're scary, but you can also learn from them. And especially if you're listening to this show, it's worth kind of making sure you know what to do in case you find yourself in these situations. Kind of what we're talking about the last segment with Bill. Bill had no idea what to expect, but it also goes to show, even as many of us are seasoned paranormal investigators, or we've had experiences before, sometimes there are things that we cannot even prepare ourselves for that hits us in the face. So definitely want to make sure that you all check in for that as well. We're talking about St. Anthony, Maine in Minneapolis. It's the birthplace of Minneapolis. And I wanted to talk a little bit, even though they don't talk to me anymore, a place called Real Ghost Tours. They stopped talking to me a while ago. It's weird. I don't understand it, but come back, talk. We love you. Real Ghost Tours is what it said. And back in the day, when I started doing that back in 2009, 10, something like that, they didn't have a lot of the space in those buildings rented out. So Real Ghost Tours is literally taking people, giving a little bit of history about St. Anthony, Maine, and then with guides, they go through the building and doing paranormal investigations. And this is great. I knew a couple people who worked there at the time, and so I didn't get charged going in there, and I would do that literally week after week after week. And what I did is I was practicing my skills using Spirit Box. It worked out well because the stuff that I got on the Spirit Box was amazing. Some of my best stuff I've ever got. And so all the other people who came on the tour, they were loving the stuff that all of us were doing. And then they would bring their equipment and they would get stuff. And, so it's one of those things, it's a very collective moment. And it was just fantastic. And one of my favorites, if you go in, because the tour would originally go, you'd leave on the main floor, which the building that they're in is literally the first building in Minneapolis built. And you'd go in, you go down the hall, and you take an elevator, you go downstairs to the sub basement, and there's like cages where storage was, but there's a hallway, and that was pretty haunted. So you do like some investigating in that area. So I went out there with Nicole, and we were out there, and another woman by the name of Jenny, and we were out there and we're doing investigations, and I had my Spirit Box, and I'm like, is there anything that you want from us? And we heard Bible and apple. And so the next week I came back with a Bible, and we left it there, and we did some talking and stuff, and didn't get a whole lot. But then we went back upstairs and went over, and there was an area on the second floor of another building right next to it, also old, but it was going to be converted into something, but it hadn't been yet. And we go up there with this group, and sometimes, sounds weird, sometimes you investigate bathrooms. That's what you do. Wherever you feel like there's energy, you investigate. Just make sure there's no one in there first, just do your due diligence. But we went in there, and I had Spirit Box going, and I never found this recording. I know I have it, but I want to find it. And so I asked the question, are you happy that I brought a Bible? And the answer was yes. And then the response continued, the Lord is our God. And that always will stay with me, because what we do as investigators is that we're looking for intelligent answers. And I know that there's going to be a lot of mediums out there listening, being like, well, I get them, they are downloaded to me, they're given to me, and I understand that, and that is pretty awesome. And when we're using equipment, though, it's nice to get those very intelligent responses, and that's what we got. And it was very very amazing. And that's just like one situation where we just saw shadow people. We're down, and in the basement there was like construction going on, and they let us in there, like the whole group. And so there's unfinished rooms and stuff, and we would just be able to be in there and investigate, and people were getting amazing things, and people were being touched, not scratched. They were being touched. We heard, disembodied voices, meaning that you're not using any kind of equipment to hear a voice, that you can hear it with your own ears. And, there's something about, especially those early days of paranormal investigating. And I see, for example, John Marson is on, and I would ask, John personally, like, isn't there something really fun and cool about those early days of investigating that, not to be a downer, is kind of lost in a little bit? At least for me, it's lost a little bit of its charm, because it was still a lot of learning. And I know as a paranormal investigator, you never stop learning, but there was something like really new about the whole thing. And just a little bit of a backstory for me around that time when I really got into it, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to be an investigator. I just was really interested in all of it. And I went to Old St. Walburga Cemetery in Rogers, Minnesota, and I did a spirit box session there. And I didn't think I got much, and I've talked about this story before. And then I got some stuff. And I was like, I'm really liking this, but I don't know if I want to turn this into something more than just like going there once and seeing. I started dreaming nightly for months, and I am not exaggerating. Every single night being a paranormal investigator, every single night. It wasn't scary. It was just me being out there, and I didn't know anybody in the field. It was just me doing my thing, being a paranormal investigator, going to these places, doing my thing. I don't even know if spirits were even in the dreams. It was just, this is what I was doing. I was being a paranormal investigator, and that was what it's all about. And St. Anthony, Maine, played such a big part in allowing me to kind of hone my skill, and I do have a skill, and to be able to hone it and create my own philosophy of how I think paranormal investigation should be. That this is something that I have truly I'm forever grateful for that area. And whenever I go through there, I just kind of like, I miss those days of meeting new people and like coming up with ways to like how we were able to get into the soap factory, and we got in there. I investigated there 3 times. It's just, those are things that I love and I miss. And I don't know, Adam, for you, there's going to be a time, I think, because I'm sure you're going to be doing more of these, that you might kind of feel the same way, that there was a point that it's still fun, but at the very beginning it was very new.
I don't know if I'll ever have that same energetic schoolboy giddiness as that very first EVP.
Yeah. That you got at the Grand House.
Yeah. Or even that moment where it's like, did we hear something? It's like, and you had just walked in the room. It's like, Greg, turn around, walk out, and walk back in, just to make sure that's not you. There's just something about that first experience and the legitimacy of what that EVP brought to what I do for my part-time job here. And it's more than running the board for you. It's getting educated nightly on everything in the world of paranormal, things that I believed existed, and I thought everybody else should believe exists. Like aliens to me were always a foregone conclusion. Same with ghosts, same with cryptids. But being able to explore even deeper is just re-energized to where I want to go squatching, and I hate camping. I want to go visit so many haunted places, but I've gotten to the point now, thanks to you, I don't want to go to all the famous places. I want to go that off the beaten path place that nobody knows about. I still want to go to Eastern State, but as for the rest of them, it's just kind of become, I want to find that little hole in the wall.
I mean, I personally feel, and I think that even like St. Anthony, Maine has this, potential issue that you go to a place that's popular and that you're going to wear down spirits. And I know people will be like, how do you wear down a spirit? You do. It's a fact. It's a fact. I've done like, and I won't say where, because I don't want to give the impression that these places don't have spirits. I'm trying to be nice here, but if you go somewhere and the night before there's a big event, and then you go the next night and you hear everyone who was there the night before going, oh my gosh, this was incredible. And then the next night, you're not getting anything at all. To me, that's fatigue on the spirit side. And that is truly a thing. And so I just feel like that, to your point, going to the places everyone else goes to, if it works for them, that's great. For me, I just feel like, maybe I'll go there once, but I don't want to go there like, over and over and over and over again. I just want to go and keep finding new places to investigate. That's all.
And I do have a question about St. Anthony's here.
Yes.
Do you think it's so active because it's right there next to the river?
That's exactly it. I mean, not only river, the falls.
Well, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I was kind of wondering that throughout this entire episode. It's like, I wonder if it's so charged because of water, the rushing water constantly.
Well, and what we haven't talked about and we're not going to be able to because we're running out of time, but the tunnels underneath. There are big, massive tunnels underneath St. Anthony, Maine that are closed off.
Limestone and granite, that's keeping
Yes.
energy.
Absolutely. I was asked years ago, a friend of mine is an urban explorer, and he's like, we go in there. We go in there. Do you want to come with me? I'm like, with this body, are you kidding me? But anyway, I kind of went away from the topic here, but it's, you have that, and the place I have seen firsthand, when you go down, there's this kind of long wooden stairwell that goes down from the main level down by the river. There are a lot of elementals down there, You leave them alone. You go down there, you leave them alone. You don't want to mess with an elemental, first of all. No. But there is a lot of that down there. And it's that's why every single thing about St. Anthony, Maine is magical and wonderful and mysterious. Even now you walk around there. Anyone who can, I suggest try walking around there. Don't even go into buildings. Walk around there and let me know the energy you're feeling. I don't know if Sarah is still on. I'm sure Sarah has felt it. They live right by there. So this is truly, to me, the kingdom of paranormal in Minnesota. I think is St. Anthony, Maine. Just incredible.
Get out there at some point. Just
you got to get out there
past the buildings.
Just to do so. Absolutely. We got to go here. We're running out of time rapidly. The rest of the week, we're doing other things. We'll be back Monday, and we're going to have Brianna on, and it's going to be fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Thank you, Adam. We'll see you next week, but we're running replays tomorrow and Friday. Everyone, have a great night.
Hi, it's Matt McNeil. Listen.